The poor puppy was stuck in a hot car during the summer heat. The sun and heat made it cry, and its vision blurred. Worse, the owner didn't know. As the dog was about to suffocate, someone smashed the window, letting in fresh air. Dazed, the dog saw a warm face, then fainted. When it woke, a boy was excitedly watching it. Turns out, a passing mom and son saved it from death. Grateful, the dog kissed the boy, who wanted to adopt it. But the dad refused, thinking dogs are too much trouble. He thought Ethan would soon tire of it. Ethan was disappointed and lamented silently. If his dad never agreed, he'd wander with the puppy. Luckily, his mom convinced his dad to agree. Ethan, thrilled, got a custom dog tag with his mom. The tag had Bailey's name on one side, Ethan's on the other. From then, they lived together happily. They played in the garden by day, read comics at night. Bailey knew his place and that the family loved him, except the cat, which was hostile. Happy times slip away unnoticed. Bailey grew up, chasing his tail. Every weekend, the dad took the family for a drive. This time, they visited Grandma's house. Grandma's farm had many animals, a paradise for Bailey. Bailey jumped out, played with hens, drank water, and ran around. Bailey loved rolling in manure to show excitement. But humans worry too much to enjoy simple joys. Especially Ethan's father, who was always gloomy due to work troubles, even complaining nonstop at the dinner table. Whenever this happened, Ethan would avoid it because, as a teenager, he wanted to help but felt powerless. He forced himself not to listen, see, or feel. Fortunately, Bailey sensed his low mood and found an old football from the warehouse, pulling him along to release his bad mood. Sure enough, Ethan quickly forgot his worries and had a great time playing with Bailey on the vast grass. At this moment, his gloomy father also came out to breathe fresh air. Seeing this, Ethan immediately wanted to cheer him up, so he teamed up with Bailey to perform a unique high-altitude ball-catching game. As Ethan threw the ball, Bailey exploded with lower body strength, sprinting towards Ethan's back, then leaping to catch the football precisely before landing steadily. The whole process was so smooth and beautiful that his father couldn't help but smile. Praise, always so short. After the holiday, Ethan started school, and his parents went back to work, leaving Bailey alone at home. Hungry, he had to find food himself, and when bored, he napped on the dining table. Suddenly, he remembered there was a cat at home, so he went to provoke it, but the cat didn't like him, leading to a chase around the house. When Ethan came home from school, the whole room was a mess, especially his father's office, which was littered with papers. Ethan quickly tidied up, but his father, who came home early, caught him. Unable to bear it, his father brought Bailey to Ethan, asking him to teach the dog who the real boss was. Helpless, Ethan cleaned up while telling Bailey, "I'm the boss, and you're just a dog boss." Unexpectedly, as soon as he said this, Bailey barked excitedly at him, seemingly liking the title of dog boss. While Ethan was bonding with the dog boss, his father urged him to hurry because the boss was coming over for dinner. To make a good impression, his father took out a long-cherished commemorative coin to give as a gift. Curious, Ethan took one out to play with after his father left, but the coin accidentally fell into Bailey's mouth and was mistaken for food. Swallowed it down. Seeing this, Ethan quickly opened the dog's mouth, hoping he'd spit it out. But just then, the doorbell rang, and Dad's boss arrived as expected, and Ethan was about to face big trouble. As dinner went on, the boss suggested checking out the commemorative pen after the meal, specifically the one Bailey swallowed. Panicked, Ethan asked his dad to leave the table, then took Bailey outside, begging him to pass the coin. Watching the accountant, Bailey cooperatively found a hidden spot and did his business as requested. Ethan, overjoyed, rushed over to check and indeed found what he was looking for. However, unfortunately, when he returned to the room, his dad had already taken out the coin box, ready to open it. The workers watched. To prevent exposure, Ethan had a quick idea and shouted there was a mouse under the table. Then, amidst the chaos, he put the coin back in the box. But just after solving this problem, a bigger one arose. Because Bailey was too active, Dad tried to catch her to stop her from running around, accidentally knocking the boss's wife onto the table. Thus, the carefully planned dinner turned into a mess. Dad's hopes for a promotion and raise shattered like bubbles. And Bailey, the culprit, was locked in a dark storage room. However, when night fell, he successfully escaped through a small window. Then, he quietly sneaked into Ethan's bedroom. He did this because he sensed Ethan's sadness and loneliness, so he tried everything to stay by Ethan's side. The next day, Ethan and Bailey performed stunts to cheer up Dad, successfully earning his forgiveness. But time is unpredictable, and in the blink of an eye, Ethan grew into a handsome young man and became a star on the school football team. Yet, Dad, having lost his job, stayed home all day, feeling depressed. He showed indifference to his son's achievements. Unable to stand the gloomy atmosphere at home, Ethan took Bailey out every weekend. One day, they went to an amusement park. At first, Bailey excitedly ran around, but suddenly, she smelled something new on Ethan. Though unaware it was the scent of hormones, Bailey followed Ethan's gaze to a girl. Then it dove under her skirt. Seeing Hannah so scared, Ethan quickly apologized. It was the dog, not me. Finally, Hannah was amused by Ethan's apology. After all, what bad intentions could a cute dog have? And that's how they met. To apologize and for personal reasons, Ethan invited Hannah to ride a roller coaster. But by the end, he felt dizzy and even knocked over a sausage stand. All 28 sausages ended up in Bailey's stomach. Maybe from eating too much, Bailey couldn't stop farting in the car on the way home. But even with the dog's stinky farts, the sweetness between Ethan and Hannah couldn't be hidden. From then on, it was a couple and a single dog. Bailey liked Hannah joining because she always smelled like cookies. But there was one thing she didn't understand. Even though Hannah had nothing in her mouth, Ethan kept trying to get something out with his mouth. While Ethan was enjoying love, his parents were on the verge of breaking up. My father, who worked, drank all day and sometimes hit my mother. That night, Ethan saw his father drunk again. He wanted to mediate as usual, but his father suddenly pushed his mother to the ground. In anger, Ethan fought with his father, and the family fell apart with this drama. His father chose to leave them, taking the cat with him. Even though Ethan and his mom buried the cat in the garden, Bailey didn't understand death and thought it was hide and seek. Excitedly, she dug it up and brought it to Ethan's mom. Despite family issues, Ethan excelled in his studies. He got a college acceptance thanks to his football talent. To celebrate, Ethan went to a bar with classmates. Unexpectedly, he ran into his drunk father. Though there was no conflict, after his father left, Ethan was insulted by classmates. Ethan's excellence had long sparked jealousy. Before, no one could find his weakness. Now, seeing his drunk father, the envious couldn't hold back. The pig came over to mock. Initially, Ethan didn't want to respond, but the bully's words got worse, even attacking his mother. Unable to bear it, Ethan punched him. Little did he know, this impulsive act would ruin much of his happiness. That night, Bailey was suddenly awakened. When he went downstairs to check, he found the bully throwing lit firecrackers through the door crack. Although Bailey chased him away, a fire broke out. Bailey rushed in to wake Ethan, who then woke his sleeping mother. But the fire had reached the second floor, forcing them to escape through the window. In a hurry, Ethan made a rope from bedsheets, first lowering his mother safely, then Bailey. But as Bailey landed, the rope slipped from Ethan's hand. With the fire growing, there was no time to make another rope, so Ethan had to jump from the second floor. Unfortunately, he was hit by a burning stick on his right leg upon landing. His mother quickly took him to the hospital. Watching the ambulance drive away, Bailey thought he was being abandoned and chased after it. But soon, he spotted the arsonist hiding behind a tree. Furious, Bailey tackled him. When the police arrived, the culprit was so scared he confessed everything before being questioned. A few days later, Ethan was discharged to recover at his grandmother's. Though he was mostly fine, a shattered leg meant he could never play football again, losing his college scholarship. This sudden blow left Ethan disheartened, uninterested in anything, and he shut himself in his room, no longer playing with Bailey. Bored, Bailey turned to the farm's donkey for company. One day, Hannah came to visit Ethan. Shocked by his state, Ethan broke up with her to avoid being a burden. Heartbroken, Hannah left despite Bailey's attempts to comfort and persuade her. Sometime later, Ethan, now more mobile, received an acceptance letter from an agricultural college. On the day he left for school, he said goodbye to Bailey. But even so, as the car drove away, Bailey chased after it. He ran across the grass, over the road, through the golden wheat field, and finally, when Ethan saw him, he jumped into the passenger seat. Bailey thought this would make Ethan stay, but those who want to leave can't be held back. Though she didn't understand farewell, Bailey knew a dog's mission is to be with its owner. Now that Ethan was gone, Bailey felt her life lost meaning. She no longer enjoyed playing with the football or the little donkey. Instead, she waited by the lake for her owner to return. Until one day, Grandma found her lying quietly, not eating her dog food. After a hospital checkup, they found her kidneys were failing rapidly, with only a few days left. Lying on the examination table, Bailey didn't know what was happening, just felt weak and unable to make everyone happy. In her final moments, she seemed to hear the doctor's voice, opened her eyes, and saw that familiar face. After Bailey's diagnosis, Grandpa had called. The doctor finally arrived before Bailey stopped breathing to see her one last time. And so, Bailey left this world, but she didn't completely disappear. When she woke up again, she was a German Shepherd. At first, she was happy, but then realized her old friend Dandan was gone. In this life, her owner was a police officer, and she became a police dog. The work was hard but simple, just following orders to search, find, and confirm, then receive an honorable salute. But what puzzled her was that despite doing well, her owner never smiled. At home, she could feel a sense of sadness and loneliness from her owner. Whenever she wanted to jump on the bed to comfort him, she was always rejected. Confused, Bailey didn't understand why, only knowing her owner often stared at a photo. Her owner once had a beloved wife, but now they were separated by life and death. Some find it hard to open their hearts to love again after losing a loved one, not realizing they're stuck in past sorrows. We tend to overlook the warmth around us. Until we face separation again, it's too late for regrets. That day, the police received a report. A 12-year-old girl was kidnapped by robbers. After receiving the task, the owner immediately took Bailey to search. Bailey quickly found the robbers by the scent of the girl's clothes. However, as the police closed in, the robbers panicked and threw the girl off the dam. Seeing the girl fall into the rushing water, Bailey jumped in without hesitation. In the river, she risked being swept away but managed to swim to the girl. Then, she bit the girl's clothes, trying to drag her back to shore. But the rushing water and the girl's weight made it extremely difficult for Bailey. Fortunately, with her persistence, the girl was successfully rescued. However, at that moment, Bailey saw her owner in danger and, despite her exhaustion, tackled the robber about to shoot. Although she saved her owner, she was shot in the abdomen and fell in a pool of blood. Seeing her owner cry in sorrow, Bailey felt a wave of sadness. But now, she just wants to rest well. Though this life was short, Bailey felt incredibly honored. Because in mission after mission, she saved many innocent lives. With a blinding flash of light, Bailey entered her third life. This time, she became a short-legged munchkin cat. Her owner was a kind college girl who adored her and took her everywhere. But she knew her owner was lonely. So, she wanted to spin and wag her tail like in past lives to cheer her owner up. But unexpectedly, she had no tail in this life. However, this funny action made her previously sad owner smile again. Yet, a heartache needs a heart cure. Temporary happiness is only a quick fix. It turned out her owner longed for sweet love. But she was a total homebody, staying in all day. Not only that, she often ordered all kinds of delicious food. As a result, she became obese and fed Bailey into high cholesterol. Helplessly, she followed the doctor's advice to take Bailey outside for exercise. But Bailey, used to lying around, didn't want to move at all. No matter how her owner urged, she just lay flat on the lawn. Suddenly, she smelled something special, got up, and saw a big black dog approaching. Seeing the tall and strong Tigger, Bailey got caught up right away. He wanted to chase the big dog that didn't match his size, but was rejected. He thought he'd stay single, but the big dog's owner was the guy who once hit on his owner. Their reunion brought two lonely hearts together. Soon, the two people and two dogs became a family, quickly welcoming 3 new members. As days passed, the new members grew, and Bailey started escaping. The kids treated her like a toy, dressing her up. At first, Bailey resisted, but to spare Big Black, she endured it all. Yet, Big Black's condition worsened daily. One day, she was taken out and never returned. Soon after, Bailey became listless. She had felt this way before, so when death came, she wasn't afraid. With her owner by her side, Bailey felt her life was wonderful, with no regrets. However, her next life wasn't as lucky, though the woman liked her and took her home. The man didn't like dogs, so Bailey was tied in the yard without shelter. Through hot summers and cold winters, Bailey grew up. During this time, she was never freed or played outside. One day, a policeman came, and Bailey thought she was being taken away. But the policeman just looked around and left. What followed was an argument inside. Then, the man came out and unchained Bailey. The policeman reminded them they couldn't keep a dog there. Helpless, the woman let her boyfriend take Bailey to a better home. Instead, the boyfriend abandoned Bailey far away on a cold road. Watching the man leave, Bailey shivered but didn't chase him, not wanting to return. And so, Bailey became a stray, unloved and uncared for. That day, he wandered into a park and watched other dogs happily playing with their owners. Warm memories flooded back. Suddenly, he caught a familiar cookie scent from a white dog and its owner. It was an unforgettable mark, no matter how many lifetimes passed. But too much time had gone by, so he didn't dare hope and continued wandering. Yet fate is magical. As he crossed busy streets, clear streams, and golden fields, he arrived at a long-lost farm and saw the donkey he used to play with. Just as he wondered if Ethan was there, an elderly Ethan appeared. Bailey excitedly leapt and licked Ethan's face. Though Ethan was surprised by the dog's enthusiasm, he didn't recognize the changed Bailey. Kindly, he offered some food, hoping Bailey would eat and go home. But after so many hardships, how could Bailey leave? Unfortunately, Ethan didn't understand, and even took him to a shelter. Watching his beloved person walk away, Bailey anxiously barked and paced in the cage, but Ethan didn't look back. Later, when Ethan returned to his lonely house, he regretted the day's events. Memories of Bailey lingered. The next morning, he rushed to the shelter to adopt Bailey again. After years, Bailey was back in Ethan's car, freshly bathed with a new tag. Though it seemed like old times, Bailey sensed Ethan's hidden sadness and didn't know how to help. But then he remembered the familiar scent from the park. Before dawn, he rushed there and luckily found the white dog and its owner. He followed them to a private villa, where the cookie scent was stronger. Hannah, who emitted the scent, noticed Bailey's persistence and curiously checked his tag. A name buried deep in her heart suddenly appeared before her eyes. Past memories surged forth. To see her former lover again, Hannah drove Bailey back to the farm. But when the doctor saw Hannah through the window, he immediately hid in the room like a coward. No matter how Hannah knocked, she didn't dare to respond sincerely. But Bailey knew she was inside, so he kept barking and making noise. Finally, the doctor had nowhere to hide and had to face the woman he once let down. Oh. Bit awkward. They pretended to be friends and asked about each other's experiences and changes over the years. It turned out that Ethan had been single all these decades, never married, and had no descendants. Hannah had started a family, but her husband unfortunately passed away a few years ago. Because her daughter circled back and married in this small town, Hannah decided to move back a month ago. After hearing this, Ethan suddenly became excited because even after all these years, he couldn't let go of Hannah. In the past, he was too timid to seize happiness, but this time, he didn't want to miss out again. And Hannah felt the same way. So, naturally, they rekindled their old romance and held a wedding decades late. Seeing the lovers finally together, Bailey was thrilled. But at the same time, he had an unfulfilled wish, which was for the doctor to recognize him. At first, he tried to show the doctor he was back by spinning and wagging his tail, but the doctor thought every dog did that, so he didn't pay attention. Undeterred, Bailey continued to find a way. Suddenly, he found an old football he used to play with in the dusty storage. So, he carried the ball to the doctor. At first, Ethan thought Bailey just wanted to play, but after a few rounds, he realized Bailey seemed to expect more. Even though he hadn't recognized Bailey yet, he suddenly remembered the special fetch game they played as kids. So, she tried throwing the football like before, crouching halfway down. Bailey had been waiting for this moment, so he leapt over Ethan's back and caught the ball precisely, landing steadily. Seeing this familiar scene, Ethan was stunned for a few seconds, then instinctively called out the name, Boss Dog. Hearing the familiar call again, Bailey barked excitedly. Ethan could hardly believe his ears, but he called out Bailey's name. At that moment, two souls resonated, and two old friends who had faced life and death finally recognized each other again. A Dog's Purpose is a drama film directed by Lasse Hallström, starring KJ Apa and Dennis Quaid, released in 2017. Bailey was originally just an ordinary golden retriever, but after passing away, he reincarnated 4 times with memories of his past lives. First, he was a stray dog rescued by Ethan, accompanying him through a scarred childhood and youth. Second, he was a brave golden retriever who saved lives while healing his owner's lonely heart. Third, he was a short-legged corgi who used his cuteness and cleverness to help his introverted, unsocial owner find love and happiness. Fourth, he was adopted and then abandoned, but during his wandering, he found his original owner, now in his twilight years. After living 4 lives and experiencing 4 different dog bodies, Bailey realized that a dog's purpose is to find people who need saving and do their best to save them, to love them with all their might, rather than worry about bad things that have happened or might happen. Cherishing loved ones and living in the moment is the most important attitude in life. Moreover, no life in reality can reincarnate. We only have one chance to live, so we should focus on the present, enjoy life, and love ourselves and those we care about. Don't wait until it's too late to regret. Of course, death and parting aren't scary. They hold the possibility of a new beginning. Impermanence and regret are unavoidable, but as long as we stay positive and optimistic, we can always find hope. Perhaps if we learn to feel the world as purely as dogs do and give love sincerely, accompanying others, we can create meaning in the ordinary and find our own life's answers. That's all for today's movie sharing. Please like, comment, and share, and I look forward to our next meeting.